So Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency as of today, which is the 30th of December 2024. This comes after what is reported to be a massacre in Laventille last night, where 5 persons were gunned down and murdered, and this is the government's response. So I'm just like everybody else. I'm very surprised to have this happen today. We didn't expect this, and so I said, you know what? Let me go through what we know about the state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. From the press conference that was just held about half an hour ago, it's stating that this is a response to gang-related violence and the anticipated retaliation from last night's events. And sorry if I sound very nasal, I'm suffering from the Sahara dust we had the other day. And so I'm hearing that from the press conference, we're not going to be restricted in terms of a curfew. Our movement isn't going to be restricted. Schools are going to be open. Businesses are going to be open. What they're really aiming at is increased security, but not just increased security, because they can do that without a state of emergency. But what they're increasing the security in terms of the powers that the police and the defense force will gain from a state of emergency. Because when a state of emergency is activated, it gives them increased powers. And some of these powers, if what you weren't aware, is the ability to arrest without warrants, stop and search without warrants, enter premises to do searches and raids, and arrest without a warrant as well. So these are some of the increased powers. There will be regulations that will come out later today, and we will cover those when they come out, that will really detail what is going to be done during the state of emergency, specifically this one. Because as we know, we've had state of emergency in the past. In our recent history, we had one during COVID, and we had one in 2014. A state of emergency is going to be, the regulations and the laws are going to be pinpointed towards the specific goal of the state of emergency. So this state of emergency is to quell gang-related crime. During COVID, that one was to limit the spread of COVID-19. And in 2014, that one was also to get a control of crime. And so the regulations are going to be pointed towards that. We don't know the regulations as I am filming for this one, but as we know, for COVID, it was curfew, restriction of movement, limiting of the numbers of persons that can gather, limiting the amount of persons that can be in a vehicle, mandating masks in public. And so that was specifically pointed towards that. In 2014, we also had a curfew, and we didn't really have too many restrictions in terms of movement, but there were, again, wanting that increased powers for the defense force to actually enter premises without warrant, arrest persons, seize illegal paraphernalia, and so on. So that's where we are now. We're going to see in the next few days how this develops and what comes out of it. And I'm shocked. I mean, I did not expect this to happen now and this morning, because yes, we know that crime has been pretty out of control this year, especially criminals really made their name this year. But again, we weren't expecting a state of emergency to be sprung on us this morning. And I don't know what's going to come out of it. We'll all have to just wait and see as time goes on what is the result of this state of emergency.